in one sense, comes from the definition of bhakti that we have just heard from Hari Parshad Prabhu. He was speaking of Krishna Sambandhi Anushilanam, that we are performing various activities of devotional service. And the definition of bhakti, Krishna Anushilanam, in this definition, Krishna indicates not that Krishna, not only Krishna himself is the recipient of the activities of devotional service, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These are the 9, I would just say, basic angas of bhakti. So not only these angas can be directed towards Krishna alone, but they can also be utilized in the worship of Krishna Sambandhi. Everything which is connected with Krishna becomes an object of worship for the devotee, such as, for example, Tulsi Devi Maharani. We worship, by worshipping Tulsi Devi Maharani, we are performing bhakti. And sometimes we worship Krishna's paraphernalia, various things that belong to him. We worship the Dham, where Krishna has appeared. And of course, we worship the devotees of Krishna. Therefore, Rupotsava, we are worshipping Sri Rupa. In Shravanam today, in Kirtanam yesterday, in Smaranam all the time. We are here to remember Sri Rupa. Padasevanam, we were carrying his padukas, bringing him here, worshipping his lotus feet. Archanam, we are offering worship unto him. Vandanam, tomorrow we will be offering so many prayers that he has composed, and we will be also praying to him. We offer our obeisances unto him. Dasyam, we consider ourselves Rupanugas, the servants of Sri Rupa. Sakyam, it is our aspiration to understand the heart of Srila Rupa Goswami and to serve him in that way, to serve his mission, and to serve him as a confidential friend, very favorably, as we heard, anukulyena, we should worship Krishna and everything that is related and everyone that is related to Krishna in a very favorable way, without expecting anything for our own self, and with a very positive state of mind, a very positive state of consciousness. And then it says, Atma Nivedanam, giving one's life. Giving one's life, depending on the Lord. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I am just a kept cow of Sri Krishna. A cow which is kept by someone, especially a great, good person, has nothing to worry about. Grass will come, shelter will come, everything will be provided by the master. So we don't want to be a strayed cow. We want to be Krishna's cow. And we want to be Srila Rupa Goswami's cow. We want to be Srila Prabhupada's cow, a kept animal. We also heard that when Rupa and Sanatan, they went to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they fell on the ground holding grass between their teeth. And Maharaj said, this is a sign of humility. What is that sign of humility? Who eats grass? The cow, the pashu, animal. So when we come in front of the spiritual master, like Rupa and Sanatan, with straw in the mouth, it means, as we heard, the outwardly humility of the Goswamis. It means, oh my Lord, I am an animal. I am actually an animal, unworthy. So this is the utmost humility of the Goswami, which makes their greatness. When Srila Rupa Goswami was visiting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nilachal, in Jagannath Puri, Mahaprabhu forcibly asked him to recite some of the verses that he was compiling. And the devotees around him, including great devotees as Swarup Damodar, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Haridas Thakur, all great devotees, Nityananda was also there. They were amazed. How could he compile such verses? How could he do that? How could he compile such verses? And especially one time, we know, Rupa Goswami from afar, because he was so humble. He didn't consider himself qualified to be part of the intimate circle of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he always kept a distance. He was staying at a distance and he was observing. So during the Ratha Yatra, Mahaprabhu was dancing, singing, and all his associates were surrounding him, dancing, playing mridangas, and trying to protect him as well, as he would go wild in ecstasy. He would jump very high into the sky and he would fall on the ground, sometimes hurt himself. So they were all surrounding him. Rupa Goswami was at a distance and he was observing. Then at some point, as we know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to sing a song which was like a mundane love song of a lady who was lamenting the time when I was with my lover in young age. I was with my lover on the bank of the river. And we had such a good time, such wonderful feelings. But where is all this today? So the devotees around Mahaprabhu became very perplexed. What's happening to him today? He's a sannyasi. And usually we know him as completely focused in devotion, completely focused in devotional service, remembering Krishna only. How come he's singing this song today? They could not understand. But someone understood. And that was Sri Rupa. After the Ratha Yatra, he went back to the hut where he was staying with Haridas Thakur. And he took a palm leaf and he started inscribing on it a verse of his own composition, which we will hear tomorrow. That's advertising for tomorrow. He composed a verse of his own, which was like an explanation of what Mahaprabhu was singing. He understood that Mahaprabhu actually he was singing that song because it was a song of separation. And in that song, he considered himself the young lady who was remembering her lover, not on the bank of the river, on the bank of the Kalindi, Yamuna. Who was the young lady? Radha. And who was the lover? Shyam. So Mahaprabhu was, and this is the mood of the Ratha Yatra. The Ratha Yatra originates from Kurukshetra, when Krishna and the Brijbasis met after so many years of separation. The gopis wanted to bring him back to Vrindavan. This is the significance of the Ratha Yatra. Jagannath, Jagannath is the form of the Lord, hearing about the feelings of separation of his devotees. So, in Jagannath Puri, the devotees, when they heard this verse, first Mahaprabhu, when he found the verse, he slapped Rupa. What a good reward, eh? He slapped him lovingly, not like. And he said, "How do you know my heart?" So the devotees, when they heard this verse, they also asked Mahaprabhu, how does he know? How could he know? The only person who knew the heart of Mahaprabhu was Swarup Damodar. So how did Rupa know this? And then they figured, he must have received your special mercy. And Mahaprabhu said, yes. When I met him in Prayag, his humility attracted my mercy. But this is a lesson for us. We wonder so many times how to attract the Lord, how to become attracted to the holy name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told us, Trinadapi sunichena, Tarorapi sahishnuna, Amanina manadena kirtaniya sadhare. So Srila Rupa Goswami is our leader, the leader of the Rupanugas. And he is the leader in many ways. By his expertise in presenting the science of bhakti, by his original personality, which is Sri Rupa Manjari, but also by his exemplary character as Rupa Goswami, by his extreme humility. He is the leader of all the Vaishnavas. So how did we come to celebrate this Rupotsava? There is always a story behind everything. It is not just based on some theory that he is the leader and therefore we can follow him, worship him. We began this festival in 1999, and that is the year when I joined the VIHE. But I had met, and this is something to understand, when we study the Bhagavad Gita, we come in touch with who? Krishna. When we study the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, these literatures are spoken by Krishna and they are spoken about Krishna. And so by reading them, this is actually our aim, is to come in touch with Krishna, to re-establish our relationship, our lost relationship with him. Similarly, we study Srila Prabhupada's books. And what happens when we study Srila Prabhupada's book is we come in touch with whom? Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada told us, not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's involvement. Matter is inert. There is always a soul which manifests all activities. Even our eyelids, Prabhupada said, are controlled by a devata. The tirthas have personalities. When we celebrated Srila Prabhupada's centennial in 1996, We were collecting holy waters from all over Bharatvarsha and beyond. And initially we were thinking, how are we going to do that? 1008 Sahasratirtha Jal. 1008, it will be difficult. But at the end we found it was very easy. You know why it was easy? Because the tirthas were persons and they were coming. They were coming to glorify Srila Prabhupada. They were coming to worship him with their waters. And so the collection was very easy. So when we read Prabhupada's books, we come in touch with Srila Prabhupada. Similarly, when we read Rupa Goswami's books, we also come in touch with him. We come in touch with all the acharyas. Books are not just books. Behind the books, there are persons. So, for me, I would say I met Srila Rupa Goswami in 1979 in Paris. I had visited the temple as a student studying in a university. I went to the Sunday feast. And the devotees forced us to buy books. They're very expert. And I didn't know what book. I ended up with, guess what? Nectar of Devotion. The Nectar of Devotion, which I couldn't understand anything of, because the spiritual literature, to be understood, requires spiritual potency, which at that time was not at all awakened in someone just coming off from the street. So that was my first book and my first touch with both Srila Prabhupada and with Srila Rupa Goswami. And then when I became a devotee, next I got a book, maybe it was in 85 or 86. I got the Nectar of Instruction. It was a French edition with, on the front page, there was that sketch of Sri Rupa kneeling down with one knee, his right knee on the ground, with his hand on the knee, and the left knee up, and he seems to be speaking. You can find this sketch in the Bhajan Kutir, that is worshipped as a Bhajan Kutir, opposite to Srila Prabhupada and to Srila Rupa Goswami's Samadhi at Radha Damodar. So I was reading the Nectar of Instruction, and I liked it very much. I started memorizing Vacho Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam. I started memorizing the verses, but the most attractive piece of the book for me was the cover. And that sketch of this personality, just dressed, on that picture, is only dressed with coping. There is no dress, such a personality. People from the cities would say, maybe an aborigine, an uncivilized person, naked. But hear what comes from his mouth. You hear what he compiles, what he speaks, is obviously not some jungly person. So this was very wonderful. And therefore, because I was looking at the cover, I was thinking of the person. Then came 1987, my first visit to India as a devotee. I went to Vrindavan. And at that time, Vrindavan was very different. And the only places to stay basically was the Fogel ashram. which many of you probably don't even know what it is, where it is. 1 kilometer from ISKCON temple towards the town, a kind of dharamshala type of place, Fogel ashram. And opposite to that, I was staying, there was a Ram temple with a few rooms there. I stayed in that Ram temple and I roamed, went to the ISKCON temple and I visited the temples in Vrindavan and I discovered Radha Damodar temple, very interesting place. I discovered Srila Prabhupada's rooms and I discovered Srila Rupa Goswami's samadhi. Oh, that person who wrote the book. And I began to go there every day, chanting at the samadhi of Srila Rupa Goswami. I remember I stayed for 2 months, summer months, very hot. Then, in the 90s, I was serving in Delhi. I was actually serving my Guru Maharaj. And every time I would go to his office, there was this picture, small format, hanging on the wall, written in Sanskrit or Devanagari script. Initially, I didn't even know who was that person. But every time I would go to the office, I would look at this, as very attracted to that picture. Then I understood, it says Sri Rupa Goswami Pad. It's him. I was very devastated one time when some of my godbrothers, they completely changed the deco in Maharaj's room and the photo was gone. I became a little frantic. Where is the picture? Where is the picture? I found it in a corridor. And then later on, I managed to get it. And it landed on my altar. So I began seeing this picture every day. Every day. And then one day I connected with the VIHE in 1999. And I discovered the VIHE logo. At the first time I thought it was a student taking notes. But from the dress, I again was doubtful. Usually ISKCON devotees don't dress like that. And then again I discovered, who is this? Rupa. It is Srila Rupa Goswami sitting under the Kadamba tree in Teya Kadamba, writing Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu and some of his other works. So again I felt, wow, nice that I landed in this place. This place is connected to Srila Rupa Goswami. It is the founders and the later directors of the VIHE that actually decided to use that figure as part of their logo, naturally connecting the VIHE with Rupa Goswami. Or it's not just the VIHE which is connected to him, the entire of ISKCON. In the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada writes that the Sankirtan movement is conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. So all ISKCON devotees are naturally connected to Srila Rupa Goswami. And then began the festival. We started celebrating. We used to go to the Samadhi and sit there for 5 hours, 5.5 hours. We would do kirtan, we would sing some of Rupa Goswami's compositions. And it went on and on and on and on and on like this every year. We continued to celebrate this festival. And in between we studied Srila Rupa Goswami's books. Then in 2012, we established the VIHE temple room with the 6 Goswamis and Srila Rupa Goswami. Somehow he was part, so much part of the VIHE that we gave him a separate asana. And as we started the temple, the VIHE temple, we also began the weekly kirtan. And it was actually Sarvabhauma Prabhu who advised that you should sing Shad Goswami Ashtakam and Sri Rupa Manjari Pada to worship the Goswamis and Srila Rupa Manjari. So this is how this Sri Rupa Manjari gradually, Rupa himself became more and more present in the VIHE. And by this weekly singing the glories of the Goswamis and then the glories of Srimati Rupa Manjari, which is the form, the eternal form of Srila Rupa Goswami, then gradually this presence of Srila Rupa Goswami has been growing year after year in the institute. So this song, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, is compiled by Narottam Das Thakur, who was himself a great follower of the Goswamis. And he compiled this song as part of his series of prayers known as Prarthana. You can find it in that book of songs, Prarthana. It is in a section which deals with Siddhi Lalasa. Maybe some of you understand what is Siddhi Lalasa. This is explained in the Nectar of Devotion. Lalasa means eagerness or longing. For what? For Siddhi. And Siddhi means perfection. Just as we sing every morning, we sing the Tulasi prayers. And this Tulasi prayer is also a type of prayer which is called Siddhi Lalasa. What do we pray for when we sing the Tulasi prayers? We are praying to become engaged in the transcendental service of Sri Sri Radha and Govinda. Of course, mostly when we pray for service, we pray for service in this world. Give me some service, some book distribution, some cooking, some deity worship, because we are embodied in this material tabernacle. We are embodied. And Srila Rupa Goswami has explained us that devotional service can be performed by us through our senses. We can utilize this material body to serve the Lord. Otherwise, the Lord exists only on the transcendental platform. And he is served by his devotees who have a form similar to him, that is, a spiritual form, a transcendental form. This material form cannot touch the spiritual realm. But by the mercy of the Lord, we can begin to offer our service to the Lord through this material body. Patram pushpam phalam toyam, yome bhaktya prayachati. We can take some water, some fruit, some leaves, and we can offer that with these very hands to the Lord. And by the mercy of our connection with the Guru Parampara, Krishna accepts these offerings. Not exactly the apples and oranges and bananas. He accepts the bhakti. He accepts our desire, He accepts our longing, He accepts our intention to serve Him. And in this way, we are included in the service of the Lord. No more serving Maya in this world. We are serving the Supreme Lord, even though situated here. But the devotees long to fulfill the desire of the Lord. What is the desire of the Lord? Is that we return to Him. He descends in this world to reclaim the conditioned souls so that they may end their sojourn in this terrible place which is known as Dukhalaya, the place of suffering, whereas the soul is eternally, naturally situated in bliss or ananda. Krishna personally descends to reclaim us. So it is our duty to fulfill His desire and to return to Him. Even though while we are performing devotional service, we do not keep anyabilashita shunyam, any material, selfish, personal desire. Returning back to Godhead is not a personal desire. The desire is actually to fulfill Krishna's own desire, to have us back with Him, playing with Him in the spiritual world. It is His desire that we shall not suffer. It is His desire that we become uncovered, that we return to our original spiritual nature. And therefore the devotees endeavor in their sadhana, not with any selfish motive, but with the desire to please Him. Krishna is pleased when we engage in His service. And ultimately, service means serving Him through transcendental senses. And that is siddhi. To reawaken our transcendental senses and serve Him with those senses in a transcendental body, similar to His Sat Chit Ananda. So naturally you may say, oh, I think this is very far away. Which is true. It is very, very far away. We are so much entangled in the modes of nature. We were hearing devotional service in ignorance, devotional service in passion, devotional service in goodness. Where is pure devotional service? But it is our aspiration. It is the aspiration of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas to serve Krishna purely. And so the Acharyas have given us all these beautiful prayers. All the prayers we sing, Gurvashtakam in the morning. We are meditating on the spiritual master in his transcendental body, serving Krishna in transcendence. And we are praying to Srimati Vrindadevi or Tulsi Devi to please bestow upon us divine service. So this song, Sri Rupa Manjari Pala, similarly is a longing. It is the longing of Narottam Das Thakur, the longing for the darshan of Sri Rupa, not in that ascetic body, but in that divine, glorious, gorgeous body of a beautiful Manjari. Why darshan? Well, in order to serve, to enter or re-enter the divine realm and be engaged in the service. So it is a longing, it is a desire, it is a goal in Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada gave it to all the neophytes. Although we are not understanding, during Tulsi Puja in the morning, somebody is just trying to figure the Sanskrit words. Somebody is trying to get first to do the parikrama. Somebody is worried about the pronunciation of the song. Somebody wonders how we worship a plant. While somebody actually longs for the transcendental service of the Supreme Couple. So by practice, even though initially we are completely ignorant, we are in dehatma buddhi. We do not understand these songs. But if we keep singing them, day after day, year after year, slowly, slowly, some revelation will come. Some deeper understanding will come. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung this beautiful song. You all know this song. And he declares boldly his connection with Srimati Rupa Manjari. There are others. There are other Manjaris, and people are connected to different personalities in the spiritual world. Just as we are connected here in this material world to different families. Similarly, on the spiritual platform, we are connected to different groups of gopis, of gopas, where we belong, where we perform our eternal service. So, in this beautiful song here, how are we doing with time? Is Srivas Prabhu there? Or is there? So this beautiful song, in this beautiful song, Sri Narottam Das Thakur, he says that the lotus feet of Sri Rupa added Manjari. He is meditating on the original identity of Srila Rupa Goswami. He says, they are my sampada, which is my wealth. Why do I possess? Nothing. Nothing in this world. I possess nothing in this world. We cannot own anything in this world. What is the reason for that? Ishavasyamidam sarvam. Krishna is the owner. And we cannot own anything. But we own people by love. So here he says that I have only one wealth, and that is Sri Rupa. Then he goes on saying that whenever I perform devotional service, I do it to please Sri Rupa. You may say, oh, I thought we were supposed to please Krishna. But Prabhupada also told us, you cannot serve Krishna directly. We are Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayo Dasa Dasa Dasanu Dasaha. We are the servant of 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 the master of the gopis. So we are the servants. We belong to a chain of service. So here he wants to say that I dedicate all my service. Of course it is service to Krishna. But I am a servant of Sri Rupa. Whatever she orders me, that is what I do. Srila Prabhupada also established this kind of thing when he created our movement, he created ISKCON. He said, you serve the temple president. You serve the authorities in the temple. And that is considered service to Srila Prabhupada. So we are servants of the servant. He says, in my heart, there is a treasure. What is the treasure? It's the person I love. That is the treasure. What else is in the heart? It is love. Now the person I love and that love for that person, that is the treasure in my heart. And it is such a treasure that usually I wouldn't speak about it. It is a hidden treasure. He says also that the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami are my ornament. I am decorated by this servitude to Sri Rupa. And they are the life of my life. All my spiritual energy, my spiritual strength, which is the life, that is coming from his lotus feet. This is the meditation of Narottam Das Thakur. And he goes on. He said, the lotus feet of Sri Rupa are the reservoir of all rasa. They are the conclusion of the religion of the Vedas. How to taste rasa. Again, rasa descends through the disciplic succession, which is headed by the prominent devotees who are servants of the Lord eternally in his eternal abode. He says, service to the lotus feet of Sri Rupa is the conclusion of the religion of the Vedas. The Vedas introduce us to the eternal religion, our eternal service, which is understood to be service to Krishna. But it comes under the service of his associates. He says, service to the lotus feet of Sri Rupa, or the lotus feet of Sri Rupa, the fulfillment of all my desires. There is nothing else that I desire in the world. My only wish is for the service of Sri Rupa. These lotus feet, the attainment of that service of the lotus feet of Sri Rupa is the goal of my vows, my austerities, and all the spiritual activities that I perform. It is all meant to please him or her. So this is his meditation. By the power of those lotus feet, my activities will become favorable. Anukulyena Krishna. We are, as conditioned beings, not, our mind is never favorable. It is unfavorable. We need the mercy. We need the mercy of the spiritual master. We need the mercy of the entire disciplic succession. And Narottam Das Thakur is hankering for the mercy of Sri Rupa. By the mercy of the spiritual master, our mind becomes pacified and we can serve the Lord favorably. It is by the mercy of these lotus feet that I am meditating upon that I shall achieve perfection. They are vancha, siddhi. And what is that perfection to attain? It is that one day my spiritual eyes may open and I shall see reality. The world where we're living is known as illusion. It is the world of illusion, a temporary manifestation which vanishes at every moment. We yearn for a stable situation, a permanent situation, and that is situated in transcendence. This is the goal of Krishna consciousness. So Narottam Das Thakur says that perfection means to open my spiritual eyes. And when my spiritual eyes open, finally I shall see Radha, Krishna, all their associates, and in the midst of them especially Sri Rupa, very beautifully dressed with a greenish colored dress, a golden complexion, smiling very brightly in the service of Sri Lalita. So this is his meditation. With these two eyes, not exactly these two, the refined transcendental eyes, I shall see. And if I get that darshan, certainly it will remain imprinted in my consciousness forever. And it will shine like a brilliant sun. It will shine upon me like a brilliant moon. And it will illuminate my consciousness and direct me at every moment. Then finally he expresses this longing naturally transforms into a sense of a feeling of separation. Because where is Rupa Manjari? I am sitting in the material world, entangled in this body and mind. This mind that never wants to surrender to anything that Krishna enjoins. Sri Rupa is so far away. So Narottam Das is longing, longing in separation. Each day and night feels like poison. When shall we ever attain this spiritual perfection that the great acharyas have described? So an occasion like today is an occasion to think in this way. Because most of the days, we're not feeling separation from Rupa, Radha, and Krishna. We are feeling separation from dog. We are feeling separation from husband, from wife, from father, from mother, from the land of our birth. Therefore we are known as Gokara. Animal, truly. Therefore, we remember Sri Rupa Goswami Pad holding a blade of grass in his mouth, very humbly. We are incapable, unqualified. We are neophyte devotees. But by the mercy of the great acharyas, who are manifestations of all the associates, eternal associates of the Lord. Gradually, gradually, they are pulling us out of this illusion. Our only duty, worship their lotus feet. So we will stop here for today. Hari Hari Bol. And we will welcome our next speaker here very, very happily, Srivas Prabhu, who is speaking all the way, we said, from Africa. So let us hear him. Srivas Prabhu, are you there?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vansakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.